So let me share my screen for a second. As most of you probably could see, we created a document with the agenda and some basic information with links and useful information. So feel free to use this link, and you can find it on our Slack channel. At the beginning, I want to remind all of you and actually inform the people who doesn't know it yet that Kubernetes follows the code of conduct, CNCF code of conduct, which we actually can say that all of us should be nice to each other, and like some of our members say, be excellent to each other. And this is the initial thing which I wanted to say. And the next point in our agenda is the introduction. And I want to ask you to say some things about you. We would like to know each of you, but there is no, if you are shy or don't want to do that, you don't have to, but it would be really nice to hear something about you.
Hey, I'm Ashutosh. I work at Maya Data for OpenEBS project, and I was lurking around Slack, to figure out to contribute back to Kubernetes, and I think I'm at the right place.
Yeah. Hi, thank you. It's really good to see you here.
Yeah, thanks.
Hey, my name is Prasenjit Sarkar, and I'm a product manager for the cloud native applications within the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. I'm responsible for managed Kubernetes services, API gateway, functions, streaming, and other cool cloud native applications.
Yeah, great. It's really good to see you here too.
Hello, hi. This is Suraj Narvade. So I recently joined USwitch in London as a platform engineer. So I'm working around all those Golang tools, operator, Kubernetes, all those stuff. Yeah, and yeah, I'm here to contribute to more infra. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Hello everyone, my name is Vineet. So I work for a company called Aqua Security as a software developer. It's been 5 months I've been working with Aqua Security, and I'm also part of 1.16 release cycle of Kubernetes, and I'm also part of 1.17 release cycle of Kubernetes. I work for Docs. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for what you are doing, and thanks for being here.
I guess I'll go.
Go ahead, yeah.
I'm sorry. This is Joy Sarkar and I work for Capital One, and I'm part of the platform team who manage the Kubernetes cluster in the company.
Hey guys, this is Fernando. I'm from Onica. We are an AWS consulting company. Been working with Kubernetes for a good while now, and jumping in on the opportunity of actually contributing to the project. So here to help.
Hi, Fernando.
Hey, I'm Mike from Sonos here in Boston, DevOps engineer and maintainer on Kops, and yeah, looking forward to getting deeper into the infrastructure.
Yeah, thank you, Mike.
Hi, this is Juan. I'm from Madrid in Spain. I'm my cloud architect at Microsoft. I work with customers mostly in the Kubernetes space with k8s, OpenShift, and all Kubernetes applications.
Yeah, good to see you here.
Hi, I'm Marcin. I work at Kadliti in Warsaw, and I'm DevOps engineer here.
Yeah, hi Marcin. Good to see you here.
Hi everyone, this is Shivani. I recently joined Grab as a Golang developer.
Hi, very good to see you here.
Thank you.
Hey, this is Eamon Bauman. I'm an engineer at Rancher Labs.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, hey everyone.
Hey.
Please go ahead.
This is Nico. I work with Google. I'm here to help migrate the assets that k8s-infra is using that exists right now in a Google Cloud account managed by Google. And this is meant to help the community control where they run their infrastructure and enable self-service.
Hi, Nico. It's good to see you here. Niels, you can say what you want now.
So hi everyone. Hope you can hear me.
Yep.
Great. I'm Niels. I'm from the Netherlands, and I work at a Dutch insurance company. And we mainly work with Azure. A little bit of experience with Kubernetes, but very interested, and I hope I can contribute.
Yeah. Hi. It's really nice to see you.
Hey everyone, this is Arash. Okay, let me start again. Hey everyone, this is Arash. I've been working as an infrastructure engineer here in Pune, India for InfraCloud. Have been working as a DevOps engineer, SRE in past roles, and I've been using Kubernetes in production for all kind of platforms, bare metal, GCP, AWS, and whatnot. So, yep. So Tim's calling and try and see how I can help.
Yeah, nice. It's good to see you.
Hi there. I'm sorry. Okay, can I go ahead?
Yeah, sure. Good.
Okay, my name is Ricardo. I work for Serpro. I do try to contribute also in SIG Network, and I'm here also to try to help with anything that I can drop in.
Really good to see you too.
Hey, I'm Donovan. I'm an operability engineer with Equal Experts. I'm ex-Amazon, so primarily a lot of experience in the AWS space.
Yeah, good to see you.
Hi, my name is Daniel, and I work for a company called Upbound. I work on an open source project called Crossplane. I'm also on the 1.17 release team for Kubernetes, and I just wanted to participate in this just because I like to look for new ways to help out in the community. So I'm excited to be here.
Perfect. Sounds good. Great.
Hi, guys. I'm Tomek from Poland. I'm working for a company called Objectivity here in Wrocław. I'm not using much of Kubernetes. It's only for my hobby projects, but I wish I can learn a lot by contributing and knowing the stuff from the inside.
Yeah, good to see you, Tomek, here. We have a few more minutes if somebody else wants to introduce himself.
Hi, my name is Venki. I've been using Kubernetes for the last 1.5 years and super excited to contribute to this project.
Yeah, good to see you here.
Hi, I'm Milce from Macedonia. I'm working remotely for IKEA, and I'm working with Kubernetes for about maybe 3 years, and I'm working as a DevOps engineer, and I'm here to contribute to help the community in the project as well. Thank you.
All right, good to see you.
Hi, this is Aditya. I am based out of the Bay Area. Work for a sports company, Under Armour. I've been an infrastructure engineer and have been using Kubernetes in production for over about 3 years at this point. Happy to contribute in the community.
Yeah, thank you. It's also good to see you.
Hey,
Hello?
this is Adita. I work at Cisco and I work on the Kubeflow project.
Good to see you.
Hi, it's David, and I work as a DevOps consultant, and I'm interested in how I could contribute with my theory knowledge and with my hands-on practice on my home lab projects experience.
Yeah. Hi, David.
Hi, hello everyone. I am Diego from Argentina. I am cloud infrastructure consultant. I've been participating in the open source world for like 20 years, so I like to see how I can help here.
Yeah, great to see you here.
Hi, I'm Thomas. I'm an SRE for Arbor Networks up here in Michigan, USA. Been working with Kubernetes for 4 years now, and I just want to help wherever I can.
Yeah, great. It sounds like you are a veteran so far. Good to see you here.
Hello everyone.
I am Anton. Go ahead.
So hello everyone. My name is Tarun. I'm a Google Summer of Code intern at Linkerd. I also contribute to some projects around CNCF like Agar, and also I did few contributions to the Kubernetes project. So I'm looking forward to help wherever I can. So thank you.
Good to see you here.
Hi, I am Anton. I am software engineer at Docker. I also contribute to various open source projects and decided I want to get my hands dirty with Kubernetes, so that's why I joined.
Hi, Anton.
Hi.
I'm Saurabh, and I've been working with cloud, AWS, and GCP for past 3 years, and recently started working with Kubernetes operators, and just like a little bit in Kubernetes, so just thinking of contributing it.
Great, it's good to see you here.
Hi, I'm Anhad. I'm a software engineer. I work at a hedge fund. I've been using Kubernetes for a little over 3.5 years now. I've been contributing sporadically to some of the networking projects in the Cloud Foundation, like MetalLB and external DNS. I'm here because of Tim's tweet asking for help with the infra group. Just trying to see how I can help.
Perfect. Great to see you here.
Yeah, we are all here because of Tim. Where are you, Tim? Show yourself.
I can see him. Yes, he will have to show very soon because the next point in our agenda is actually the topic which Tim will be leading. So is there anybody else who wants to say something about himself, or we can just... Yep, go ahead, Roberta. We can hear you. Okay, so maybe let's put it further during our onboarding session, and if there will be some time, we will do it again. So the next point in our onboarding session is the topic about what is the purpose of our working group, and this topic will be managed by Tim Hawking. So please, Tim.
Hey everyone, this is amazing and overwhelming. I can't believe we've got 76 people now on the call, and even if you count out Bart and Dims and George and myself, we've still got way more people than I know what to do with. So thank you everybody who's coming here, literally from all around the world. This is incredible. I think it's worthwhile to go into a little bit of the history of how we got to where we are, so that you can understand the sort of things we're talking about under this work group. So when we started this Kubernetes thing, we realized we needed a place where we could store the images, the Docker images that we were producing. So first we created a Docker Hub account, and we pushed all our images up to Docker Hub, and then we realized that that wasn't reliable enough, and we needed more control over what was going on. So we created this was all mostly Googlers at the time, we created a cloud registry, GCR, for our container images, and we started pushing all our stuff there. And for a long time, that was okay because it was mostly Googlers working on the project, or at least every subsystem in the project had Google people working on it. So it was totally okay for us to say, well, only Googlers can push to the repo, because that was just the way it worked. And then as the project grew up, we realized we needed other little things like a website. And so we created a website, and we, of course, decided we were going to run our website on Kubernetes. So we spun up a cluster and started running our website via Nginx and some static config and other stuff. Along with the website, we decided we wanted a bunch of vanity domains, short things, so code.k8s.io and those sorts of things that let people have nice, short, cute URLs to take them to places. So like, I don't know if everybody knows this, but like pr.k8s.io/number will take you to the right PR on GitHub. And so we started accumulating those things. And then, of course, we wanted to have go get work. So go get k8s.io Kubernetes runs through a little Nginx proxy that we run ourselves. And then we have all of our testing infrastructure, and then we have Prow, and then we have, what else? Well, we got a million of these little things. We got that GCS Web, which is just a stupid little front end that takes the Google Cloud API for storage and puts it a directory-like view on top of it. And we accumulated all these little bits and pieces that we use on a day-to-day basis to run the project. And what we didn't really pay attention to as we grew all this up was all of this was running on Google Cloud under the google.com organization, which is where all the Googlers have access to do anything we want, and where we're also not allowed to invite other people. I'm not allowed to have everybody on this group help me with these things. And as the project grew up, it became clear that it was not true anymore, that there was a Googler in every subsystem, that it was not okay for anything to require Googlers to be able to do anything with the infrastructure, that there are people like yourselves who are willing to help but unable because I can't grant you access to these projects. And that doesn't seem tenable. This is a community project. The community owns it and all the artifacts with it, and it should not be in Google's control. So last year, we started this project to transfer everything that we have done into community ownership. We worked with CNCF to make sure that we have a way to pay for all this. Google donated some credits so that the resources themselves aren't actually running up the bill, but CNCF has set up the accounting for it. And this work group was started, and Dims and Aaron and Christoph and everybody else who shows up on a bi-weekly basis to talk about this infrastructure has been working towards this goal. As we reaching our first couple of milestones of being able to actually transfer things over, we realize we have more work to do than we have people to do it. And more importantly, we want to grow our bench. We want to have more people from more areas with more backgrounds. We want to be able to have these services be available. Today, do you know what happens if k8s.io goes down? It means nobody can go get Kubernetes anymore. And who gets paged for it? Anybody know?
I think I know.
I do. Anybody else? Nope, nope. I think it's pretty much just me. That is not a tenable situation for something that is as widely used as this. The GCR, now hopefully GCR never goes down, but God forbid, should GCR go down or should there be a problem with GCR, who's going to respond to that, right? Hundreds of thousands of clusters around the world now depend on this GCR. I think we need to do better at this. And so as we move this stuff into community space, we're looking hard at security and availability and just production readiness of these things. A lot of it was done ad hoc. And as we do this, we realize actually getting to production with something is like a classic 80-20 problem, right? We've done the 80%, we've delivered 80% of the solution with 20% of the work. We have to do the other 80% of the work to get to a real solution. And that's why after our meeting 2 weeks ago, I was feeling a little frustrated that the same work kept falling on the same people over and over again. And I thought, gosh, there's got to be more people out there who want to help us. And so I opened my mouth on Twitter, and here you all are, which is just amazing. I can't express how overwhelmed I am by having everybody here. So I hope that gives you just a little picture of the sorts of things we're talking about. I expect that over time, the number of things in this category will actually grow, and the diversity of them will grow, right? We've already got some things that run in GKE clusters. We've got stuff that's running in managed services, and I think we'll continue to figure that out as we go. And so the sort of work that we need to do here is really the production readiness work. It's the, how do we know this thing's ready? How do we believe that it's secure, right? Have we collectively looked at these things and tried to think adversarially and try to attack our own systems and figure out if we're actually safe? If something goes down on a weekend, who's willing to sign up to help, right? While I will never sign anybody for this group up without asking, I hope that I can count on some of you all over time to help carry this load. I think it's what's the old saying, many hands make light work. So I think we can make this happen. Anybody have questions about the sort of stuff that we're talking about with this infrastructure group?
Let's maybe move a little bit question to the further during. Oh, actually, I know team. We moved actually the team's presentation because he needs to leave in like 30 minutes or so. So if you have some particular questions for team, maybe this is the time to do that.
Right. And we can also take questions and stuff to the mailing list afterwards, and I will be paying attention there too.
So maybe instead of the question now, let's move them to Slack and our group, and immediately move to the next topic, which also will be like led by Tim, and it is about the state of the world, our current state, and what we are currently doing, and what is the plan for like a near future to do.
Right. So I took a quick pass through our issues. So everybody, the home of most of this work is github.com/kubernetes/k8s.io for hysterical reasons. That's where most of the code and config that we're talking about lives. That's where our issues live. So I took a quick pass through all the issues yesterday with an eye towards updating them, making sure that they were pragmatic. And in fact, actually, they don't look that bad. So current state of the world. We have a few efforts that are in flight right now that we wanted to land before we started opening the door to other efforts. So the first major effort is to move all of the container registry from a Google private container registry to a community-owned container registry. We have established the new registry. We have, in the process, Linus here to my left, is working on a promoter robot, which will, basically what we want to do is we have these staging to the chat. No, we do not have a private registry. We'll talk about private in a minute. We want to give all the sub-projects. So Kubernetes is actually a collection of hundreds of sub-projects, right? And we want to give every sub-project a place where they can work on their own. They can push their own images and test stuff and try things. And when they decide that, of all their trials, this one is the good one, they can promote that to production. But I don't want to give humans individual access to the production repository, as we're looking at this with the security eye. So Linus has written a robot that will do the promotion for us. So basically we've got a Git manifest, and I can give, for example, the cluster API folks, right? They have a handful of these, what we call staging repos. They can push and work within the staging repos. They can test to their heart's content. And when they're ready, they've got an image that they think is a good one. They file a pull request against this k8s.io repo in a specific place that says, I want to promote from repository X at hash Y, and I want to move it to production. I want to call it Z. And the bot will wake up when that thing merges, and it will actually move that image across. And it's cool because now only 4 people have access to the production repository, but it doesn't have to be Googlers. So now we have, DIMS has access to the production registry. So if something goes wrong, we have people who can actually fix it. But for the most part, it's automated. And so we're pushing on this, and again, classic 80-20 problem. The 20% of the solution, or 80% of the solution was easy. And now we're doing the security, and we had a security audit internally, and we found a bunch of things that are wrong. And so Linus has been slaving away on this more or less by himself. And here's a place where I feel like we could use more help, more people, people to review it, people to work on it, people to just think about it from a security point of view. And ultimately, people who are signing up to help administer the thing, should something go wrong, God forbid, they will help to figure it out. Right now, I think that the tasks in flight are things like the backup and restore mechanism, and then the tests for the backup and restore mechanism, and the real-time auditing, watching the pub substream of things that get pushed so that we know if somebody maliciously gets a credential and pushes to the repository, we'll know about it. Those sorts of issues need help. So that was our first big thing. It's actually one of the biggest things that cost money to the Google account. We don't actually spend, it's funny money internally, but it's one of the biggest single line items when you look at the breakdown. And I think that that belongs in community space. It's actually really interesting from a statistics point of view, how many images we're pushing. The second set of tasks is things that run on a cluster. So internally, we have a couple of GKE clusters that we use to run utilities, things like GCS Web, things like the k8s.io Nginx redirector. And we want to move those into community space. So we now have a cluster, which we call AAA, and that cluster is ready to start moving these workloads in. Now, unfortunately, to touch the old cluster, you have to be a Googler, but most of the configs are checked in to Git, so we can actually move these things over to the new cluster fairly easily. But 80/20, moving things over is easy. Where's the monitoring? Where's the alerting? Who's carrying the pager for each of these things? If GCS Web goes down, it's probably not a huge deal, but I'd like to know about it because it will affect all of the test dashboards. And when you click on a test result, it will take you to GCS Web. If that's dead, we have a problem. Another classic example was like SSL certificate management, right? We run Cert Manager, and thanks to James, who I saw in the list here somewhere, for shoulder surfing with me yesterday to help me update it, right? Like I don't have the context on how to do that. So getting community people to help with these things is critical. So those are a couple of the things that are in flight right now.
Jim, this sounds really exciting, and I think we are all wanting to dive in and help. I'd love to hear your thoughts and Linus's thoughts on how we can harness the power of all 76 of us and work in parallel so that we maximize our effort and do, as you said, many hands make light work. I'm thinking, because you're saying that there's two themes. There's one, move things into an account that can be shared with everyone. Another one that you mentioned is go through the security review and complete action items for the security review. I'm thinking we can create different streams of work and plan, and then distribute the work and perhaps track that over GitHub with labels so that we don't step on each other's toes.
Totally.
For the migration, I was hoping we can get a plan for the migration, and for the security, I was thinking we can split the security into storage, network, certificate management, and access controls, and that should cover most action items for the migration. And then there can be an owner that we assign to flesh out the plans on each. How does that sound? I guess what's in your mind?
This idea sounds great, but let's move like ideas about how to solve some of the problems to our like biweekly meetings, because we all are also thinking about how to properly split the work and how to actually give the people information about the state of everything and about get the like highest amount of feedback and help from people. So let's do you have Tim something else to say about this topic? Or
I was just going to say the last point, I guess, is leading into the proposal. Unfortunately for all of us, a lot of the state on these things or plans on these things is in people's heads. You know, we've been meeting on a bi-weekly basis for over a year. And so, you know, Dims and Aaron and Bart and others probably know things that aren't written down. And it's hard in that case to figure out what we know that isn't written down. And, you know, as we talk about it here, I'm taking some notes on other things, bugs that we should file as discrete issues and that we could set people off on looking at. So yeah, I think we definitely need to think about how to divvy up the work. I'm overwhelmed at the number of people here. I don't know how we're going to find enough things to do for 75 people. But if everybody just does like one little thing, we'll be really looking pretty darn good. But the best way to bootstrap this, I think, is what Bart has proposed, which is a sort of mentor-mentee set of groups, right? I'm happy to pour my brain out on a group of people who are interested in the topics that I'm dealing with. I volunteered Linus for the same task. I'm sure Justin, I don't know if Justin's here. There's too many boxes on the screen. But Justin, I volunteer to do the same thing with respect to some of the billing work. And there's others, right? There's things that we haven't even opened the door to yet because we don't have enough people to work on and we wanted to focus. So once we have more bandwidth available, we can actually start exploring other things in parallel.
So exactly like Tim said, there is like an idea which it will be evolving during the next like a few very close weeks, and the good place is to be actually on our Slack channel and in our group. So if you are not there yet, it's a really good time to do so, because we are exactly in the process of figuring out how to do it best. Thank you, Tim, once again very much. And the next thing which we will do is actually to introduce ourselves, introduce like the regular people who are from like a long time attending our like bi-weekly meetings. So let's hear a little bit about, because I asked some of you to prepare me some short videos, and we will use probably in the future this. So let's hear us all. Hi everyone, my name is Bart and I'm open source engineer at VMware. As you can see, I am the host of our today's onboarding session. I would love to suggest you to not hesitate about asking questions and giving us suggestions. This onboarding session was designed to be helpful for you, so whenever you need, we will do our best to help you. And I'm really, really glad to see all of you here, and I'll do my best to properly introduce you to Kubernetes and to our working group.
Hi, my name is Benjamin Elder. I am Ben the Elder. I work on Kubernetes and Docker Kind, which is a project for local test clusters. I also work on the test infrastructure, and I'm on an engineering productivity team at Google related to Kubernetes. And I will be spending some more time on work group k8s-infra, and I hope to see you all around there.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christoph Blecker, and I'm an SRE with Red Hat, and I've been involved with the Kubernetes project for about 4 years now. I'm a technical lead for SIG contributor experience. I'm a member of the Kubernetes steering committee, and I've been around this infrastructure working group since its inception. I'm involved with pretty much everything we do, but in particular, cluster management, DNS, and anything GitHub related. Thank you all for showing interest, and I hope to meet all of you soon.
Hi, everyone. My nickname is Dims. I've been involved in this k8s-infra working group for a while. I'm currently the co-chair here as well. Most recently, I've been working on creation and maintenance of mailing lists using G Suite API for this project. If you have any questions on any other things, I might be able to give you an overview of those things as well. Thank you.
Hello, and welcome to the Imaginarium in New Zealand. I'm Hippie Hacker, and this is my little piggy tagger. What's your favorite thing about Imaginarium? Robots and drones. Robots and drones. We do a lot of robots and drones, and we have a forest of plenty with lots of trees and a cool set of food that we grow here. But we also work on the definition of what Kubernetes is, and we love pairing with others rather than by ourselves. So if you're interested in these things, please reach out to us, and if not, we'll see you in San Diego.
Hi, I'm Jason DeTavares with VMware, and I'm more than happy to help with any questions or issues regarding staging repositories or image promotion.
Hey, I'm James Donnelly. I'm based out of the UK. I work on the Cert Manager project day to day, and I help to maintain the Cert Manager deployment in the Kubernetes repository. I work within SIG API machinery, SIG testing, and help out on Prowl, so I can help out with any automation and controller related questions.
Hey everyone, I'm Nikita from India. I work on the publishing bot. That is the bot that's responsible for copying code from the staging repos like API machinery, API, client core in the main Kubernetes repo to their own individual published repos. This bot runs in a cluster owned by working group k8s-infra, so I maintain that. Other than this, I also sometimes help out with reviewing PRs for setting up GCR staging repos and the DNS for Kubernetes domains.
Hi, I'm Tim Pepper. I'm a software engineer in VMware's Open Source Technology Center, and I work on Kubernetes. I'm one of the co-chairs of SIG Release, where we're working to modernize, streamline, and improve quality on the Kubernetes release automation. I'm also one of the co-organizers in the working group LTS, where we're exploring the details of how as a community we support those releases for our Kubernetes project end users. And I'm active in SIG contributor experience because in my 20 plus years working in open source software, I've come to realize it's each of our responsibility to make it as easy as possible for newcomers to get involved in our community. Welcome.
Hey everyone, I'm Michael Grusser from Aqua Labs, which is an open source research lab, and we try to help out with Kubernetes and currently help out, or at least try to help out in the working group. So we're currently in the process, and Bart, as he basically jumped in to help out onboard everybody and like get more people introduced. It's a process, so from my own experience, I can only say ask the questions you feel like you want to ask.
So as you can see, some of us introduced already themselves, and there is also Linus. Can you say something about you?
Yeah, so my name is Linus Arver. Hello, everybody. I've been working basically on the image promotion process, bot, whatever you want to call it, for the past, I can't remember when. It's been quite a while, but hopefully I can offload some of that work in the near future. So I look forward to that.
Yeah, thanks you. So there are also of course you saw Tim who had to leave us, but very often there's also like Ihor from CNCF and Justin and Aaron from both of them from Google. And with that, let's end this introduction session and this introduction part of our onboarding. And I'm giving the voice for Dims, who will briefly introduce the Kubernetes as a project and what you need to do to start actually contributing. Mike is yours, Dims.
Hi. Do you want me to run the slides?
Yeah, sure.
Or... Okay. Let me find it first. Okay. I think I have it. I'm going to share. Okay. So while I'm talking, we need to get the contact information of all the attendees. What would be a good place to do that, Bart?
You know, everybody has his this link for the document, which I just sent before our meeting. And there's at the bottom part of this document, there is a place for attendees. So please suggest your names and contact info and how we can contact you. Feel free to do that now.
Sounds good, thank you. So can you all see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so a quick tour of the community just to get people started. I know there's people who have worked on several Kubernetes PRs and issues and stuff like that here as well, but I just want to make sure that everybody gets to the same point. So we'll go through some of the things quickly. He is a cat. We love using, we have a lot of bot commands even in our PRs and issues. One of them is /meow, and /meow will get you a cat on your picture of your cat on your PR. So please use that to make our day better. So overall community organization, we do have a code of conduct that Bart mentioned when we got started. We basically, the Kubernetes project itself is run by the steering committee. The steering committee essentially delegates most of the responsibilities to various SIGs. The SIGs are special interest groups, and they have working groups and committees for doing different things. Some of them are vertical, some of them are horizontal. And we do have a contributor ladder. most of the people start as occasional contributor, then member, reviewer, approver, and then sub-project owner. That would be the logical progression that we usually follow. And it's the same thing in our working group as well. And we do have owners files. So if you don't know who to talk about some piece of code, then you, in that directory, go look at the owners file. And if there is no owners file, go to the directory, parent directory, and go up the chain. And you will find an owners directory, and you will have a list of people. You will have a list of reviewers and approvers. So those are the people who are responsible. So this is this works in a few ways. We look at the owners files to assign issues and PRs to review and things like that. So that's what we use it for. Topic area organization. So I already pasted a link in the chat, but here it is too as well. We do have Slack, we have the Google Groups, we have Zoom meetings, we have a YouTube playlist if you want to go look at the discussions that happened before. We do have code issues and PRs. We have some queries that we can use to, and labels that we use on the PRs. So we can show you all those things when you need them. So the most important thing, join the Slack, join the Google group. Slack will be useful for people in the same time zone, but then we have people here from all over the world. So if you have a question, just use the Google group or Slack, and don't expect an answer immediately, even on Slack, because there might be people doing other things. So always formulate a full question and leave the question. Instead of saying, can I ask about something, just ask what you need to ask, and someone will hopefully respond back when the time is convenient. We do have Zoom meetings. Please come join us, look at the YouTube, and there are issues. So we do have a Google Doc, which has meeting notes from every meeting. So that might be so the Google Doc might be easier to quickly go over. And if you need access to the Google Doc, then join the Google group, so you will have access to the doc. Submitting PRs, like Tim mentioned, the most important repository that we have is the Kubernetes/k8s.io. And we have various bots that go around doing stuff on PRs. I love the cat doing the hula stuff. So who put this together? Was it Tim or you, Bart? Thank you.
It was Tim.
Okay. Yeah, so the most important thing on the PRs is make sure you sign the CLA. Otherwise, the bot is going to complain that you don't have a CLA. And if you are new here, one of us has to do an OK to test bot command, so that the label goes away and the tests run. And of course, if you have any trouble with the PRs and things like that, just ping on Slack and you will get an answer. We do have lots of repositories across the org, but the main one we work off is the k8s.io. And we use Prov. We don't have to deal with Prov too much right now, but then there'll be a time when we will need people who can stand up an instance of Prov and try to do other things related to Prov very, very soon. So if you like if you like that kind of automation stuff, learning Prov will be a really good place to start. So continuous integration. So Prov is our CI/CD system, and we have Tide, which is used for merging pull requests. And we do have test grid that has a mixture of jobs that run before submit, before a PR is merged. There are some that run after a PR is merged, and there are some that just run periodically. So there's a mixture of different kinds of tests. And we do have some amount of tests for the k8s.io, but what we'll eventually have to do is make sure that we run all these continuous integration tools in the AAA cluster that Tim mentioned. So if you're interested in the testing infrastructure and stuff like that, TestGrid is a good place to start. How do you run TestGrid on your own? That kind of stuff. Okay. So group learning suggestions. Oops, where did I go? Yeah. So what we are thinking here is we will divide ourselves up into smaller chunks, hopefully. So like Tim mentioned, there's a lot of knowledge that is not yet written down. So we could start by writing down stuff, ask any questions, that you can think of, and try to leave a note for the next person who's going to come along. And at the same time, we should come up with things that we can achieve and divide that up into issues, and start divvying up the work that way. So yes, we do have a stand-up meeting for different topic areas. So if you go through the Google Doc, you will get an idea of what are the different aspects that we are talking about on a weekly basis. So you will be able to figure out, help figure out, what are the areas that you will be interested in. It would be important to know that, so we can pair you up with the right mentor, and you will have a small group, going. Additional resources. We're going to post this PowerPoint too, so don't worry if you can't take notes or click on the URLs at this point.
It is already just my small hint is every link which we discussed today or will be discussing today is already in this document. So the presentation and the document from our weekly meetings, etc., you can find it already there.
A one-stop shop. Awesome. So we have a community meeting. Also, we have a contributor guide, developer guide. These are all things that you need if you want to go beyond our little working group and work on the main KK project and things like that. But eventually, we are serving the needs of the lots of people who contribute to Kubernetes on a ongoing basis, and we are trying to make their life simpler and easier. So we have to end up automating all the things and making sure that we have backup plans, and that's basically where we'll be spending our time. So one more little kitty to round it out. Back to you, Bart.
Thank you, Dims, for a nice presentation. And the next topic was where to find like help and information. And actually, I can skip it because Dims already told that the best place is to use our Slack channel and also our Google group. And as Dims said, don't worry if people are not responding immediately, because very many people from our group has like a lot on their plates. So be patient, and sometimes don't worry about just poking some time if the person you need help with already responded or have some time to respond to you. And with that, let's move to our last main topic to this onboarding session, and it is how to be a successful and happy contributor, which will be led by Nikita.
So, hey everyone, I just wanted to add a few quick words about some general tips that you can keep in mind so that you have a smooth contribution process, especially since Kubernetes is such a huge project. So firstly, this might sound cliched, but please feel free to ask questions. I know this has been said before, but there are no stupid questions and we're not going to judge you at all. So please feel free to ask any questions that you have on Slack, mailing list, or GitHub. In case you feel comfortable asking a question in private, you can also DM us. I don't think anyone here is going to mind if they get a DM about things like this. And also, since a bunch of things in this working group require elevated access to certain resources, we need to trust you to be able to grant these permissions to you. And one way to gain that trust is to just show up. So I'd suggest starting out with lurking on the Slack channel initially, showing up in meetings if you can, keeping track of what goes on in the mailing list and the k8s.io repo in GitHub. You don't have to spend too many hours on it. Just subscribe to the mailing list or check out the repo in between. So that we see you and know that you're interested in this and that you'd like to stay involved in the community, and over time that it's safe to give you access to manage certain projects. This is also a very good way to understand who is who in this working group. You also saw the video and what they're working on, and also places that you'd like to work on as well. Now, let's say that you've decided what you want to work on and you have an idea that you'd like to discuss. So usually the process that it's like I'd suggest to follow is that you start out on Slack to get an early feedback about it. Also, Slack doesn't have to be synchronous at all. It can definitely be asynchronous. I am from India and lots of people are from all over the world, like the US, Europe, and everywhere. So we do have asynchronous conversations. You can also show up in meetings if you prefer a face-to-face synchronous conversation. Next step after this discussion would be to create a GitHub issue and mention people on GitHub who can help resolve that issue or shine some more light on it. But also remember, like Bart mentioned, these folks could be in another time zone or might have a lot of other things on their plate and are also often mentioned at other places on GitHub. So they get a lot of GitHub notifications and they could lose this issue or your PR for that matter. So it's always good to ping them on Slack if you don't get a response. We also have the PR reviews channel on Slack. So if you don't know which channel to post your PR on or your link on, you can also do that, and so we can find you additional reviewers. For this working group, you can just post the PR or your issue link on the working group Slack channel. Yeah, I don't want to take up too much time because I want to save time for questions. So I'll just say that we're very open, we're very friendly, and we're going to try to help you as much and as fast as possible. So yeah, please ask us as many questions as you can. And if you see any places where we can improve our processes or documentation, also suggest us feedback. Yeah, that's all I've got. Over to you again, Matt.
Very much. So this is like an end of our an official agenda, and actually we are a little bit behind the schedule. So let's jump immediately to the questions and open discussions.
Can I start?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Okay, just one question, because I mentioned at the beginning I'm working as a DevOps consultant. That means my work is mostly theory than hands-on. So my question is, do you have any priorities or preferences from people or tech skills? For example, you want to people in Terraform for the infrastructure as code or something like that, or how it works, because that is my first open source and community driven stuff, and I just absolutely like a newbie, and I don't know, I should come up with some idea, or you have already issues with proposed solutions, but you don't have enough hands to deliver it, or how does it work?
Yeah, I can take this, but so David, like Tim mentioned, there is some infrastructure and we need to move it out from Google, people who are employed by Google to everybody else, right? So there is some prior art in the sense that we know these are the services that we need to run, and we know how they're configured right now, and we know how it's stood up right now and how it works right now. We need to automate when we move a service from where it is running right now to the new place where it needs to run. We are going to take the chance to make sure that it's automated. Simple example would be like the publishing bot that Nikita mentioned, right? So it is currently running in one spot. Then when we run it in the community cluster, then how do we make sure who has access to the secrets for the GitHub account? Who can refresh just the container that is running, because often it fails and it falls apart. when there is new branches being cut, or when there is new code that is getting merged in KK. So who takes care of the bot on a daily basis? Who changes the code? Who has access to the secrets? Things like that. So we have to figure out the best way to manage that service. And it would be a combination of people thinking about, okay, what is the right way to run the service? What is the code behind the service? What are the configurations that we need to support? Who is the end user? How do we monitor?
Are you going to run that group of people? And for people interested in that specific thread of work, should they reach out to you over Slack?
So we have to divide up the whole space into smaller groups, right? One group would, I think Nicholas and Listex were talking about this also. So one is, for example, is the image promotion process. So image promotion process, where is it current status? What are we what is currently being planned and worked on? What do we need to do in the future? And then how do we migrate from the existing infrastructure to the new infrastructure? So this will be a smaller group of people.
What I would like just to add is that we didn't manage to divide it yet. We are in the process currently. So in a few days, we will, and maybe even tomorrow, I will put something, the suggestions to split the work into smaller chunks. Right. And then probably there will be some already mentors who will take this, and you could definitely write there if you want to put your efforts into some particular space. But for that, there is a very important thing. We really need the contact for you. And so just a reminder, please add your information in this document if you didn't do that yet.
So if you need like a laundry list of everything that we have to do, we do have that too. But it's in a Google Doc. It is not in written down as issues. It's not broken down into to-do items. So I'll paste that too. If somebody is interested in browsing that, I pasted it into the chat. It is linked off of the main notes too.
For the people on the call who want to help, I guess what we're saying is we are going to split the work into work areas because we haven't done that yet. And we want to chat with you again once we have these bodies of work identified so that you can pick which type of work you feel more affinity towards. Does that work for everybody?
Yes.
Right.
Sounds great. So, let's maybe do one more question. And what I can suggest, like the next week will be another bi-weekly session. And because we didn't have a lot of time to questions, I suggest to attend this next meeting. And probably this will be the good time to also add some questions.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Totally. 2 more minutes. Does anyone have any other questions?
I have some short question. How the Google groups are related with the GitHub issues and the conversation there compared with the conversation on GitHub?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, of course. My question is about the Google groups and the topics there. How the topics are related with the GitHub issues? How I will get to know on which topic I will continue the discussion related with some specific issue on GitHub.
Right. So what Bart was saying was we will publish a list of areas and we'll have a list of mentors. And you can basically sign up for one of those. Does that sound good?
I think you have a really good question. That is, we want to keep a single source of truth for how we track work, and we will clarify that during our next meeting. We mainly use the Google groups as a mechanism to communicate. So if we need to give a shout out, and tell people, hey, these are the latest news, right? And we want to track our work, I believe, through GitHub issues. So that will clearly delimit the responsibility and what you want to expect from the Google group and the GitHub issue, right? The Google group is like, maybe you have a question. So you shout out to everybody and like, who can help me? And the GitHub issue would be like, I'm working on this, so that people know this is what you grabbed. I would love for us to sync again next week once that we do as Bart and Dims said, and we have identified the different bodies of work and the mentors. And that way we can start making concrete, or I guess we can start taking action.
Exactly.
Right now we have a lot of work, but it would be, we need structure so that we can we can scale.
Okay, so this is exactly how Nicholas said, and I need to stop you there because our hour actually just ended. And what I encourage you is that if you have any suggestions, questions, or anything, just write to me personally or write on our Slack channel. And we are still in the process of improving everything. So don't be shy, don't be worried about giving us like a negative feedback or something. We are very open to do that. And I'm again really like glad to see you all here. And I hope that in the near future we will move this work forward. Thank you very much.
Hoping to see everyone here next week at the same time so that we can chat more with Brad.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys. Bye. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys, girls.
Bye, everyone.